phone too. What's happening, everybody? Happy Wednesday night. Let me get this thing public out here once I can see it on my end so y'all can like and subscribe and share and do cool stuff like that. There we are. Here we are. Where are we? It says I'm live. Show me Facebook. Here we go. Public. There. Now the rest of you guys are in control. Kendall Hines in the house. Kendall, what's going on, man?
How's it going? How's it going?
Hold on. It's about to be going better because I got this bush light here and I got to do that. And now it's good. Now life is good.
Yeah, like I said, I'm starting with the caffeine. I've got a hard cider right here next to me. Might have to crack into it. Apparently, it's an imperial hard cider. I didn't know they made those. It's almost.
Oh yeah, you're going real hard. You're going real hard.
It's the
you get some uppers. Wednesday. Yeah, you get some uppers. You get some downers.
It's the old what is it? The Four Loko back in the day, right?
Oh hell yeah! Check it. The 4 years ago or whenever you were on the old bookkeeping beer and BS show, I bet I didn't have something like this. Check this baby out. I got me a beer fridge for podcasting.
Dude, that's awesome.
It holds like four. It holds four tall boys. It can hold.
Where's your studio? Is it in the basement or?
No, I'm up in the spare bedroom. I'm in the spare bedroom, just rocking it out. But my wife got me that bad boy for Christmas. It was quite possibly the cool. It was like a cool gift and permission to drink beer whenever I want.
Dude, that's awesome.
Here's a mini fridge for your office.
And if you had a Tesla, you could just keep them with you on the go. And
I do spend a lot of time in northern Wisconsin where I'm pretty sure it's fine to drink in a vehicle. Like I think everybody's probably
the car drives itself now. So I mean, before you know it,
I'm just drunk riding. It's fine.
Just cracking them all day.
Well, welcome back to the show. I think I was thinking it's probably been 4 years since we had you on. We also at that time we didn't have a sponsor. Now we got this badass sponsor, Service Monster. You guys, if you're in the market for a CRM, go check out Service Monster. We got a QR code there that you can grab. We use it in our home service business. It's freaking great. In past episodes, I've said all the great things about it. So if you really want to like get the full deep dive, go check out all my episodes. You get all the good stuff about it. I don't like to do that every episode. It takes a lot of time. Not that Service Monster isn't worth it, but we're going to keep her moving. I'll probably have Service Monster back on in December-ish time frame, maybe January. That's when you should be thinking about switching CRM. So I'll have them like do a deep dive on what they got going on. But if you're running a home service business, don't run with one without a CRM. And if you don't like your CRM or just haven't found the right one, for sure, check out Service Monster. I'm a nerdy bookkeeper. I end up dealing with all the CRMs. So I got some perspective on it. I love Service Monster. Go check them out. Kendall Hines back in the house. We're talking about Clicki today. When you were on the last time, you had a totally different business. We weren't even, Clicki didn't even exist. It was a twinkle in your eye.
Yeah, it was. I always say this about the products that I work on. It's just, I always think like I've got probably 10 other products in me too, but like this one is just, it's been, I like to say it's been marinating. It's just been marinating in there and
just letting her bake.
You know, nobody else is working on the problem or trying to solve it. So I thought we could do it. And it's been a hell of a ride so far. Let me tell you that. I thought it was hard starting the company the first time. It's actually harder the second time, actually. So learning a lot.
When do you think it gets easier?
I don't know. Hopefully, like when you have Elon money, it's just.
Was it harder because you tried to take on more because you knew what you already knew, and so then your eyes got bigger? Or you tried to do it faster or something? Or what do you think made take two more tricky?
I think I haven't really like codified it yet because we're still in like the thick of it. We're just starting our go-to-market motion. We have like 130 brands or logos on the software now. We did that in less than a year. And so I'm still in it, so it's hard to say, but I think what it is like on the first one, you don't know what you don't know. So like you're doing things and then if you're lucky enough to have a win, you think you know everything. And then so when, like the very first version of Clicki was legit like pay-per-click. We gave it was for my wife's business. and we gave all of her customers links, and we paid them. I was like, shit, if I pay Google $3 a click, I'll pay my customers $1 a click all day.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
obviously it has to be a verified human and like in our geography and things like that. But that was like the first version. I thought we were going to like disrupt like Google, but then as you like go through the process of like demoing to customers and really trying to hone in on like what is the core problem here, and you
Yeah.
start like peeling back the onion layers of, like with LawnBot, it was very clear. It was like online ordering for lawn care companies. It was a
Mhm.
very from the start, that was like the thing.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
with this,
You're not confused when you get into it. You're like, I know exactly what I'm doing here.
yeah, like there's somewhat of a playbook. If you look at Shopify, you just kind of take those principles and bring it into e-commerce and bring it into, and now, by the way, like it's everywhere. There's so many e-commerce tools now for the lawn care and pest control industry. We're still the only ones that have seen any enterprise value from that idea, and the rest, everybody else is just duking it out. And then
It's
AI
like,
popped up out of nowhere, so it's been like
yeah.
crazy because I mean that in of itself is like a big lesson. We sold December of 2020 when valuations were at a peak, for B2B SaaS software.
Yeah.
And
I didn't realize it was that long ago. It must have been like shortly after you were on the show.
it might have been, yeah. Like no, so we got that business to like, I don't know, like probably similar size, like 150, almost 200 customers.
Mhm.
And we like I said, valuations were frothy at the time, and
Yeah.
we were getting ready to raise money, and Bill and I had a good relationship. The Real Green CEO at the
Bill
time,
Gates. Oh, okay.
yeah, Bill Noonan, and he said, "What if we buy you instead?" I was like, "Okay, well, let's see what's going on."
Yeah.
and so we as one does, goes through that process. That was in September, and we closed in December, which is almost unheard of with these deals.
Yeah.
Typically, they take 6
Quick.
months to a year for these transactions, and I think it was great for me and my co-founder because we owned all the equity in the business. There was no investors,
Mhm.
and it was really life-changing for me and Eric, and for our team members. Like, I think every one of our team members that when we had sold, like their life was better after the exit than before. So
Yeah.
whether like they got a step function in like role and title at
Mhm.
the company that acquired us, or
Yeah.
um, just going through the transaction. I mean, the transaction bonuses don't hurt, with that, but
No,
you
everybody's
just
feeling good on those.
yeah, I mean, just going through it, I learned so much. I'm so happy I went through that transaction at such a young age. Like now
Yeah.
I talk to other founders and CEOs of businesses, maybe not in the software space, but even home services. And I just try to let them know like where I went wrong or what I would have done a little bit differently. I think it
Yeah.
was a great deal for all parties because they're still selling that product today. By the way, like we sold the Real Green 6 months later, a company called Workwave came in and bought the whole thing.
Oh,
Uh,
geez. Yeah. That's kind of how it goes. It's like a roll up into a roll up into a roll up.
which I had no idea. I don't come from this world, so that wasn't even on my
Yeah.
radar. If it
Yeah.
was, I would have like negotiated our deal probably a little bit differently. I would have made more money on the second sale than the first one.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll keep some
But
skin in the game, actually. Come to think about it.
like that is my advice, like to other CEOs and founders, like especially in this private equity rich environment right now that we're in, especially in the lawn and pest spaces. Um, I would be really interested in the long-term plan, and then also like rolling equity would your equity is worth more when it's bundled up with however big they plan to get,
Yep. The bigger
than
it
it
gets,
is
the more valuable it is. Even if it's more chaotic. Like I don't think it's always better, but it is worth more to the
yeah.
right buyer, it seems.
So just learned a lot. That was December of 2020. We had our first child, and then like worked for Workwave for 2 years actually. Well, it was like Real Green for like 6 months and then Workwave. So you
Yeah.
go from a 6-person startup into a 1,300-person company, global company, and I'm reporting right to the COO of that company. And I've just learned a lot over the last 2 or 3 years, and um, we made the I mean, it's risky, but it's not also not like you walk away from like the golden handcuffs, like a big, like a salary and like, maybe
Yeah.
stock options, things like that. Like to make that, jump and then go to zero. So for about
Yeah.
6 to 8 months, like
Yeah.
it
You're
was
comfortable for a while and then you're like, oh, I'm back in this world again.
not just comfortable. I was making it like more like running a home service business. And I'm like looking around and you're learning what other people are making in corporate land. And you're like, wow, that person, what they make that? That's interesting.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
meeting is very expensive to have all these people in it. Um,
Yep.
so just learned a lot and left. I guess almost a year and a half, almost 2 years ago.
So you know
Um,
why? You know why they have to pay what they do, right?
why is
Because they
that?
don't get to have any fun. Like we're all here. My wife works at 3M. I used to work at Cargo, which had 150,000 employees, and it was a good company, but they don't get to have near as much fun. They have little
I
stress.
question myself sometimes though. I'm like the 2 year like the 2 years post exit was if you're like on the happiness meter when you like say like, oh, like how happy am I with I'm extremely happy with my life and like where I am and where I'm going and stuff. But
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that too, first of all, that month or two after the wire hits, best fucking time of your life. I'll tell you that right now. Um, changed my life. But 2 years, you're a little bit more sober, right? You're back in like,
Yeah, you're past that honeymoon phase of the exit.
yeah, and the win wasn't like big enough to never work again.
You
But
didn't go buy an island. Yeah.
yeah, it was just enough to like take care of my family a little bit.
Mhm.
We bought a house um
And start the next business.
and start and lose 200 grand. So we
Yep.
opened a we opened a lash and brow studio. Me and my wife did, and you know me, I'm hyper growth, hyper scale, and we scaled the 2 locations fast. We had 15 employees. We were like that business was getting big fast, and when I left to start Clicki, I just walked away and handed over a 15-person company to my wife and said, "Here you go.
Yeah. You
It's
got
all on
this.
you." And
See ya.
she's not like I was doing a lot of the roles that she didn't learn yet, so it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
just a lot. And ultimately, it's a really tough business. The gross margins are not very good compared to
Oh, yeah.
software, and
Yep.
it just wasn't my passion. And like I said,
Way different labor force too. Totally different style of employee or
yeah.
man.
So we went to 2 locations. We scaled it back to 1 location, and now the 1 location's printing money again, and it's better than the when we had 2.
Yep.
But it was a really tough lesson. That's another lesson. I wouldn't have like after you have a win, you're like, oh, everything I touch is gonna work. And I thought
Let's
we
do
just
another one. I
throw
got
money
this.
at it. I'm like
Yeah.
200 grand of my own. It's like putting it on a table and literally lighting it on fire. That's
Oh, yeah.
essentially what happened. Like the
We did
sign
that.
is still in my
Yeah. At
my
one point
basement.
I think we had, if I count the different divisions, we had 10 different home service companies around the country. And
Yeah.
it's like, I don't regret it because I learned so much. But I sure as hell never do it again. Like, definitely learned that lesson of like, make the one location really good. Not to say don't go do another location, but don't do it right when the first one starts to get good. Do it when the first one is like hitting diminishing returns that you've squeezed everything you can squeeze out of it. Then maybe a second one. But yeah, I've made that same error of going too
Yeah,
fast with another geography.
I just think the timing was off. I made a lot of mistakes and learned a lot about me as an entrepreneur as well in that process. And when you and your wife are both entrepreneurs, it can be a stress on the marriage, right? So we're better than ever, which is great. But we had to really, it was a really, literally last November, December, January were a really tough few months because Clicki was starting to take off and doing so well, but we were also at the same time closing this location, and it was extremely sad. Like this location was technology enabled. Like I crafted every part of this place, and it was like basically like an Apple store. So you walk in and you check in on an iPad, and it's totally front deskless. And we were really trying to innovate, and I picked out the speckle of blue in the floor, like it was beautiful. And we had to walk away. And like, luckily we didn't have to pay a break fee or anything with the lease, but I mean,
Yeah.
definitely learned a hard lesson. I'll tell you that
Was
much right now.
that you couldn't get enough clients to come in the door, or it was just too much overhead for the margin structure?
It wasn't clients. No, that's not. It wasn't the problem. The beauty industry is very interesting to me. You look for reasons of why, but like ultimately,
You're just not everybody's born looking like this, man. That's what
I
it
know,
is. It's
I know.
tough. It's
It's
tough, dude. I don't know.
um, I think we were running the brand and growing headcount of the team, but also like revenue together. And then I left, like straight
Mhm.
up left. And when you do that, now you're just one person is trying to manage both locations rather than dividing and conquering. So you're losing a lot. You're not operating optimal efficiency. Um, and essentially this industry also like is very interesting. If a team member leaves, they bring 10, we'll call it like 5 to 10,000 in monthly recurring revenue with them. What
Yep.
other industry works like that?
Yeah.
Almost none. None of the industries I've done ever work like that. Like if a tech leaves, so what? You're going to go hire another one and replace them in about 5 seconds.
Yeah. They've
This
got their
industry is
person.
way different because there's a relationship between the technician and the guest.
My 2-year-old is poked his head in to say goodnight and then immediately started crying when mom wouldn't set him down. Yeah, man. We ran into that a little bit with maid service when we had our maid service companies, because not quite as much, but like the home cleaner would have a relationship with that client. And if they left, depending on the type of person it was, right? Not every home cleaner would do that, but some would leave and get like really vindictive and try to like take all the clients with them. And it was just always so awkward, like talking to the clients like, hey, we got a non-compete / non-solicitation here, so you can't really do work with them. And then you're breaking this contract, and it's like, I don't know how to enforce this because I
It's
can take it to any
unenforceable.
lawyer, but it's not going to mean anything.
Yeah, it just the mental space. Like if you think about your hourly rate as an entrepreneur, like
Mhm.
I pursued it actually. We had contracts and stuff. People left, and we sued them in
Mhm.
small claims court. I had to show up for the thing, even if I would have won, as we all know with court. Even if you get a judgment, you're not. It's a very little chance you're going to see the 2 or 3,000 or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yep.
When I can go make a sale tomorrow and make that in about 5 minutes. So it's like, where do you want to spend your time? And like ultimately, um, she's doing fantastic with that business now and really is enjoying it. She's got a great team and culture's good. And I'm doing what I love, and that's technology. And I think that was really the other thing is I need to stay in what I know. Like
Yeah.
I'm
Yep.
not a beauty industry guy. I'm a technologist, and I believe technology can solve and fix everything. Not everything, but like pretty much everything. And that was my big miss. So I'm
Really,
back to
really,
what I'm doing.
your wife should have been starting it and just contracted you for the technology, and then you were out, and that's the only role you'd ever play. Your
100%.
contract. Your contract.
100%. No, like literally I was on TV promoting the business. Like that's not, I was trying to apply what I did at Lawn Doctor to Marshall Ash, and the
Yeah.
Lawn Doctor business is still doing really well. My brother bought that when I started the Lawn Bot business. He had bought Lawn Doctor from me, and that business it's close to a couple $1,000,000 in revenue now.
Hell yeah.
So they acquired
So
another
let's go.
franchisee, and
I was gonna say, let's go back to just kind of how you got into the home service space in general. What Lawn Doctor was your first business, just
yeah,
starting up from ground zero?
yeah, pretty much. So my dad opened the first Grand Rapids franchise back in 2000, and I just grew up on the lawns with him, riding in
Mhm.
the truck with him, watching him work really hard. He had like 3 jobs at one point. He wanted to change the future for his sons, and he thought it was going to be through a lawn care company. Little did he know it was just planting the seed of entrepreneurship.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
um, so I watched how hard it is to run a small business without sales, and for 13 years, like it's just the only thing the business needed was sales. So I came in and basically dedicated my life to learning lawn care, how to sell lawn care. And then we grew that business from like 93 accounts to 300, 300 to 600, 600 to 900, 900 to 1200.
Oh yeah.
And then like, that's this, just kept growing it.
Did
And
you
during that,
at that time, did you already have that like technology bug that you were starting to apply technology stuff and automate stuff? Was it something that was already like innate to you, or is it just stuff you started to dabble with and you said, holy shit, this is my jam?
yeah, I was always tech forward. Like in high school, I was recording the raps and the beats that we did right in high school.
Oh yeah.
I was taking computers apart and putting them back together. I was trapped. I was trapped in the mental framing of like, well, I didn't go to like school for computer science, so like I just totally wrote it off. And
Yeah.
I talk about this a lot too. And I grew up in West Michigan, like where people work at Steelcase and Meyer and Bissell. They're like, people don't work at tech companies here.
Yeah.
That was a big
They're in a
miss.
manufacturing plant.
Yeah, it's a huge miss, because if I would have grown up in an environment where like I could see other people working in tech and like what they did, I was like, oh, I could do that when like it just didn't exist, and it doesn't exist in the Midwest. So I think that was a really big miss for me at a young age, because I think if I would have started fostering this, whatever it is, earlier on in life, I could have started this whole process sooner. But everything kind of works out how it's supposed to. But so
part of the
I've
journey.
always,
Part of the journey.
yeah, I've always been pretty technical. And it kind of came to a head when we were growing Lawn Doctor, and I've always had this idea of like online ordering for our business, and it just didn't exist. It existed. Like, there was other tools out there, but they all sucked. Like nothing was like beautiful and simple. And, this is pre-AI too. So like nobody was really trying to solve the problem. And initially we built the tool for ourselves. And then my friends in the industry all said, hey, could we use the tool for our company? And
Can we borrow that thing? We'll pay you a case of beer.
Yeah, no, seriously. I mean, it was about that much too.
Yeah.
Like first, totally underpriced it. Like, yeah, maybe $100 a month, whatever.
Yeah.
You can't build a business on $100 a month. So like
you can't pay an admin on that wage to take the order.
Soon with AI agents, I think I'm really excited about what's some of the stuff we're playing with. But yeah, you can't pay a human admin for sure.
That's right. That's true.
Maybe even a what is it, a VA admin?
I got a good pile of VAs through Unique Genius, which I was telling you the other day. Is I was like, huh, Clicki. I didn't put 2 and 2 together. That was yours. And then I saw you post something. And I was like, I gotta have Kendall back on. Like I haven't caught up with that guy forever. I was like, wait, Clicki. I saw like Angela just sent me some Clicki stuff and was like, hey, we got this new referral thing going on. And then I saw you and I was like, oh, like it's coming full circle. But we got. Actually, I have 6 people through Angela right now, and we got number 7 that they're looking for us. Probably not probably as we speak, because it's 8 a.m. over there. They're probably like doing it right now.
Yeah, they're getting to work.
That's right. No, it's a cool journey. What with LawnBot, was it like you built it for yourself, and was it one of those things where it's like as you start getting more into the technology, you start seeing that that's the path? Was it clear that like this is where Kendall's going from here on out? This is just where this is a space.
Yeah, I mean, it was a big shift for me when I could like sit in a chair and do demos all day and like literally make more, like from a gross margin perspective. I think something really magical happens like when you find the thing you're meant to do, and I was just meant to do software and technology, and also wasn't afraid to try a new thing. Like if I would have just kept myself pigeonholed into like, hey, I'm not a technology software guy. Like, who am I to go start a software company? I'd still be in the same spot I like wouldn't have been growing. So yeah, I at the time there were some no code tools that were just starting to like rear its head. Like Zapier was starting to hit like mass attention. And I built the first version of LawnBot using no code tools. So it was like,
oh no shit.
I was
Okay.
using the Zillow API, Google Sheets, Airtable, Landbot, and strung it together and started showing it to people. And that's what we had signed contracts, and that's how I got Eric, our CTO, to come in and basically take what I built and build the real thing of what we ended up selling.
Yeah. Yeah. Here's what it needs to do now. Make it like not need a bunch of other things.
Here's what it needs to do, and we can pay you because people are paying us. So this idea is worth working on because we're building something people want.
Check this out. Check us out. Angela's in the house. What's up, Angela? Or as your brother likes to call you, Angie. Angie's in the house. Yeah, it's amazing. I had a similar thing happen with bookkeeping. Like I was doing bookkeeping for my buddy who had a window cleaning business. I was like helping him on the side. I was still in my corporate gig. And then we started buying more locations and I started running them. I took like a 6-year detour of running a bunch of window cleaning, pressure washing, maid service companies around the country. And then all of a sudden I like started the same thing, like started helping a buddy with his books. And he's like, hey, can you just keep doing it? And then another person and then another person. And all of a sudden it was like, why do I have maid service businesses around the country? This is stupid. This isn't the thing that I should be doing. I need to get my ass in this chair and get in the QuickBooks and do finance for people. And it's so funny. Like I spent 6 years doing the wrong shit.
Yeah.
To realize like, oh, the thing that got me here in the first place is really the thing I should be doing all along and spending all my time on. But
Yeah. You probably love it more too. Like I honestly, right now, my day is like I work until 6 p.m., come home, sit kids from 6 to 9, and then I work on Clicki until 2 a.m.
mm-hmm.
I can't sleep right now because there's so many new AI tools coming out that are fundamentally changing the game. Like,
Yeah, your
especially
brain, even if you try to sleep, your brain's going to be like problem solving. You're just going to be laying there with your eyes open.
yeah, it's hard to turn it off sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
As I'm sure it is for you because you
I was
get
gonna say,
ideas.
do you have tricks to turn it off and shut her down? What do you do?
I really just push until I can't look at the screen anymore, and then I go to bed. It's kind of sad.
You're such a nerd. Such a
Yeah,
nerd.
I think
Tech nerd.
the problem is like we're in the most exciting time ever in
Yeah.
the history of technology, and it's people are some people say it's like overhyped and stuff, but there's some tools, and we're gonna do a webinar on it coming up on November 12th. If anybody's interested in coming, but um, for example, there's these new tools out there that will build full stack React web apps, all the like writing code. It will deploy a backend. You can deploy it like so it's like a real web app, and you're talking to this thing in plain language and say, "Oh, I want the button here, and I want to do that." So why this is important is when you build a software company, we use a product called Linear to do all of our product design and development, and basically it's like a glorified note-taking app. But essentially, when we get an idea for a new product, for example, a really specific example is for the longest time, I've been wanting to build this widget that lives on your website that floats at the bottom left, that when you click on it, like customers can quickly submit a referral, but it also basically adds them to a Clicki campaign once they do it, and then attaches the referral they just submitted into the larger Clicki campaign ecosystem. So
Okay.
basically, it's a way quicker way than
Just a data capture and
totally, and it's top of mind. It lives on the website, like it's right there, and it's a widget. It's like it's a user experience thing, but like it's not important enough for us to for. I wouldn't want Eric moving the entire ship off of the roadmap to go build this widget. So I'm like, oh, I'll give it a try with the tool that I was using. It's called Bolt,
mm,
Bolt, and then there's Replit AI agents, and I built it, deployed it, and I'm like, holy shit! Like this is what a junior developer would be doing. Whereas before, maybe you'd go to Upwork and have them do it. With
yeah.
me and my brain, I had all of those learnings from Zapier to understand data structure and schema and all these things that you learn with having to build no code tools. You have to think like a computer. Like all the shit needs to be exact or else it won't work. Right. So like you're like
Yeah.
learning all this stuff. And So now I'm like, damn, I built it. What else can I build? Like your brain goes there and you're like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Because before you would get an idea and you're like, well, I don't even want to try it because it's going to be 6 months before I can even see if people,
And it's just like, it's one of those onions where there's so many layers and you just keep like, it's a never ending, you never quite get to the center of it type of thing.
No, me and my CTO, we joke all the time. He's like, soon you're not going to need me. I was like, right now for the next 10 years, I think you will need. Eric is great and he's awesome and can build anything, gets the job done. But one has to wonder, like, you know, what does the future look like? You know, there's a lot of AI coding tools. I think Cursor gets pretty hyped up, which is like basically it's like a Cursor is sweet if you already know how to code, but most people don't know how to code. What's exciting about Bolt and Replit AI agent is you don't need to know how to code to actually have a clickable, like producible product. But the cool part, the best part is when you're done, you just hand it over to your CTO and it's something that he can use and work with now. So if we're there today, if this is the worst it's ever going to be, imagine 2 years from now when you download a Chrome extension and you log into Service Monster and this AI is scraping all the API endpoints and recreating Service Monster, your own version of it for your company. Like that is the world we're going to live in. And even with these fringe apps like Podium and these simple texting apps, they're charging like 1 or 2 cents per text message when the raw cost on Twilio is 0.007 per message, right? So huge markup, huge margin opportunity.
Pretty big scrape.
Huge margin opportunity. And I don't know if I get depressed sometimes. I'm like, man, it's just going to be a bunch of AIs talking to each other.
It worries me, dude. It worries me. I appreciate technology. Like I can't act like I don't like it, right? We're sitting here talking to each other right now. It's crazy. Like just the ability to do the things we can do. But I also immediately go to iRobot and the Matrix and all the technology movies when the robots take over the world. And I feel like sometimes I wonder if we're already there. Is it like, are we even making these decisions right now? Is this you and I having a conversation, or is this AI right now having this conversation? I don't even know.
I wonder that myself.
My buddy Ben chimed in, and I think he's just feeling like he's got to be heard. So I want to acknowledge him because you think he needs some attention right now. We have a hunting trip we're going on Friday. He wants to know if he should bring his climber. Ben, I don't think I'm going to bring mine, but maybe throw it out in the group chat. And now you got your attention. And then he said, "Hey Dan, what's gayer?" is what he was going for there. I think what you mean is what's more gay, Ben. I think that would be the correct way. And then he said, "Thanks, bye." That's a question he likes to ask. Is he'll throw out 2 things and he wants to know what's gayer. That's how he says it. He's nah, I don't say gay. Okay, Ben. I was laughing earlier. So I have a radio show that we do mid-afternoon. Angela's on it. We have Michael Gregory from Click Call Sell, Sean Day from Harley Jill, and we have like a panel style radio show. And as we were wrapping that up, I was like, I got Kendall on tonight. Super excited to catch up with him. Like the most viewed episode we ever had on the old show. And we had to pull it down because Bobby got a loose hair and thought he was being funny and threw up a stupid pornographic website like link to play a joke on Kendall, and then other people went and clicked on it, and I was like, shit. And I was trying to explain, like, oh, for those of you who don't know who Bobby is, like, it's basically like Ben comes on the show pretty often. I was like, it's basically like Ben. He's basically just like Ben. So this is Ben trying to do what Bobby did. He's just got to come in and
yeah, we might have a number 1 hit after this show. We'll see.
Yeah,
see how the ratings go.
You never know. We love you, Ben. I'm excited to spend a week hanging out with them. My mom's watching, so we do got to keep it at least PG-13. I've been yelled at for saying the F word too many times on this show. When my mom and my aunt watch, they're not happy with that. So I told them I'd try to keep it down to like, single digits, maybe. I think if I keep it to single digit F words in an episode, maybe they'll be happy.
Yeah,
but
that'd be good.
Nobody's counting. This ain't the Big Lebowski or anything. Nobody's playing a drinking game. So what was the exit catalyst for LawnBot was just the right multiple at the right time. Had you already been thinking of the idea of Clicki, not necessarily the name, but just like the idea of it in the back of your mind when you had your lawn care business, or was it something after spending a couple of years outside of being an entrepreneur where you're like, what's the next thing?
No, it wasn't. It was, I think with LawnBot, I wanted to build the product that I always wish existed. And I think that the same thing is for Clicki. Even when I was running the lawn care company, like everybody has a referral program. Nobody has a referral system. And I think the best version, if they do have a program, it's like a Google spreadsheet. And then like they have to send physical Amazon or Visa gift cards to them. And then it's very manual and somebody in the office has to like track it. So like there was just and people would call our office and say, I referred Tim Johnson. I never got my credit. Like they were pissed.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, like there's got to be an opportunity to really do something special. And then also you look at the fact of like advertising on Google and Facebook are more expensive than ever.
It's only going up.
It's only going up.
Getting monopolized and it's going up.
So our big vision for Clicki now is like, how do you pay your customers, your partners, and your employees cash for promoting the brand, generating new leads, and customers for the business? And that's phase one, is to get as many brands and logos on a shared system and language. Phase two is how do we create these really important cross promotion opportunities. Like if there's a lawn care company and a pest control brand and a home cleaning brand, and they're all in St. Louis, and they all use Clicki, they've all defined how much they're willing to pay for a customer, and they're all highly reviewed on Google, and they've all got 5,000 customers. Let's say that's 15,000 people in a pool. That a joint email. This is one really small example, but like a joint email that they all co-develop inside of Clicki, like multiplier. And then it sends out to all so we're basically like an escrow agent between all of these brands to enable this cross promotion. That could be really interesting. And I think that's like the really big idea of this is like, how do we unlock these network effects that historically we've had to go outside of the network, which is outside of SMB land. And we have to go to like Facebook and Google to buy eyeballs and attention. What if we just bought them from each other? So I think that's a really big idea. So right now we're on phase one of that plan, obviously, is get as many on a shared system and language as possible.
Yeah. Do you like if in a geography, do you then need to like pool people, right? Because if you got like 3 pool cleaning companies and 2 pest control companies and 8 maid service companies, do you?
Yeah. Like, by the way, this doesn't exist on Clicki yet. So we dream and think a lot about this. So, but we just see just natural overlays. And I don't want to talk about it too much because now we have a lot of competition getting into the space. And literally same thing as LawnBot. They're like watching my shit. Every feature we release, like they're not fast followers. They're just followers.
Yeah.
And so we do all the hard work, like staying up until 2 a.m. coming up with the idea, fleshing out like what is the best version of this look like? How does it work? And then like they put out a shittier version of it, and it's just kind of annoying. So, but yeah, essentially,
but mockery is the best form of flattery, right?
100%. Yeah, I mean, like, but to your point, I think a really easy example of it would be like how BNI groups do, where there's one of each category in a group of people.
Yeah.
And I think it also could help grow Clicki because like, hey, we've got an open spot for a realtor in our group.
Yeah.
And do you have a referral system? No, we don't. Well, use Clicki. That's step one. That's how you're able to join our group.
Now you're in.
And now we can really easily pass referrals between our businesses. And we think, like I said, I just tried to build the product that I wish existed. So like Tesla and Capital One and Chase Bank, for example, they all have programs like this where they give their customers referral links. And this referral link is personal to you. So when my friends and family click on it, they say, Kendall Hines loves Tesla. Use Kendall Hines' referral link to save $2,000 off your Tesla order.
Yeah.
And now small businesses can have that same power with Clicki. So we've designed every step of the experience to be thoughtful and beautiful. So when you share these out to Facebook, you probably saw it, people sharing their links. It actually
Yeah.
looks like a Facebook post or a Facebook ad when
Yep.
these links are shared out in the world. And so we're like on what's really interesting is like we're on chapter 1 of this journey, and so we're like right now we're building the team, starting our go-to-market motion. You know, we're adding probably 20 logos a month right now, and then trying to figure out how we get to 20 to 40 in a month. And it's just tons of new problems and challenges come with that. And slash, we want to keep innovating on our roadmap and making sure that, you know, when we bring a customer on, they don't have to think about anything. Clicki just works in the background of their
Yeah.
business. And
Yeah.
you know, today it's not like that. Like when you launch on Clicki, like there is some participation from the brand that's required. Like you need to let
Yeah.
your customers know about it. So we're trying to take that off of the plate of our customers
Yeah. Automate that.
long term. And
Take us through that. Like if we're signing up with Clicki, and I want to say this too, before I pose this question, but I mean, I just look at people's financials all day, every day. That's all I do. Referrals are so valuable that I oftentimes even forget to acknowledge them from a marketing standpoint. I'm like, repeat and referrals are table stakes. Repeats work in most industries, but not all industries. I was talking to a roofing client the other day. He's like, man, there ain't no repeats around here. Like, it's gonna be 30 years and I probably won't be here. I won't be in this business by the time they need a new roof. Maybe we can sell them something else, but they ain't gonna repeat on a roof install. But referrals, right? Like for everybody, referrals are the best converting lead, the best cost lead, the quickest to convert usually, and the most trusting. Like they trust you more, which goes with the conversion rate. They trust you more than the person that found you on Google. Like Mrs. Jones just told them about you. So I see that over and over again. The companies that do the best job of harnessing repeats and referrals, I won't say they grow the most necessarily, because some people will spend a shitload on marketing. They grow the most efficiently, for sure, and the most profitably, because marketing is expensive and it's only getting more expensive. Like you said, Google's getting really expensive, Facebook's getting really expensive. Every part of that's getting really expensive, and so we always got to be finding the best way to do the lowest cost marketing. And repeats and referrals, however we can do that most efficiently and most cost effectively, always makes a ton of sense. So in that referral space, can you take us through what that journey looks like for I guess take it through what the journey looks like for a client that's signing up with you, for somebody that's a business owner, but then also I'm curious the journey for the client, the end client that is referring or getting referred. How does it work?
yeah, so every business is a little bit different. I think there's really 2 big buckets that it falls into. Are you a high frequency, high recurring service, and then like a one time, like a roofer, or low recurring, which would be like Christmas lights or something like that, where you're doing the job once, and then next time you experience that brand is a year from now. And I think those 2 different experiences we're learning are like quite a bit different. So
something like lawn care maid service, where it's just like
you
every week.
experience the brand maybe twice a month, maybe.
Yep.
If you have weekly house cleaning, you're experiencing that brand 52 times in a year.
Versus
So
maybe once a year for window cleaning or pressure
right.
washing or something along those lines.
Yeah. So essentially, what happens today is when a brand signs up with a Clicki, it's completely white glove. So we design all of the landing pages. So when like your customers share their referral links, like when they click on it and then the landing page loads, like we design that landing page. But essentially, when they're ready to go live, we like to hook it up to their CRM. So typically, we hook it up to like, as long as it has an API, like we have a Zapier integration, we have webhooks in and out of Clicki. Our goal is to automate this as much as possible. So we want to hook it up to their CRM, but then also they typically give us like a CSV file, and we do a mass upload of their customers. And then, let's say it's a pest business and they've got 5,000 customers. All of those 5,000 customers are provisioned a referral link. So now they have a Clicki account. And then basically those people get an email and text message letting them know that we'll use Pest Badger for an example. Pest Badger is launching their new referral program, and they're paying their customers $50 for every customer that they sign up.
Okay.
And the actual portal is white labeled as well. So they would log in at refer.pestbadger.com. So it's actually on their domain. So everything is completely white labeled. The referral links, the referral portal, everything about it's branded to the business.
Nice.
And at that point, yeah, customers get an email and text message. They can immediately start sharing their referral link. They can self-submit referrals in the portal. So basically, there's two ways. They can generate referrals via a link they share on social media. They can also type it in. So this would be like, I know somebody's referral information. I'm going to type it in. And then it actually gets logged immediately. So every referral they get, they can track the status of it in the portal, in the referral app. So, that's the biggest problem with a lot of these programs is, especially if you run them yourself or like use a Google Sheet, typically the customers can't see the status of their referrals. Like, has it been paid out? Is it pending? Is it not paid? Like, what is the status of this person? So it's a fully
they get lost. And you said this earlier, and I have this happen all the time. Like, oh, I'm sending this person your way. Oh, I sent them your way. It's like, did you? Like, I don't know. Dad, I never remember seeing them or getting a call from them or anything. Like, and so you told them, but who's doing the follow up, right? Like, if you tell somebody something, they didn't sign up with me. You told them, and 3 seconds later, they forgot who the hell I am. Like, it'd be way better if you just sent them this link, and then I can do the follow ups, or the follow ups can be automated.
Right.
So many of those referrals that are like, yeah, dude, I told this guy to go, and I'm like, well, can you introduce me at least?
Right.
Because I know you're not going to follow up to see if he booked a time with me.
Yeah. So I think that's big. Like, if there's no system in place, to your point, it just kind of like dust in the wind. Like,
yeah.
And they're going to fall through.
Everybody feels good about it, but nobody's making any money.
But back to your initial point, like, if you were to ask any business owner, there's people that are proud to say, oh, I've never advertised ever. I've grown my business only through referrals. And it's like, well, if that is true, then wouldn't the smart thing to do would be to incentivize it to do it even more? Mm-hmm. Like, if it's already the number one source of new customers in your business, you would think you'd want a system around that and then continue to incentivize it to have a scalable system in place.
Yeah.
So yeah, essentially people get their referral links. They can self-submit referrals. And then when they earn money, typically most companies hook up Clicki to their CRM. So, if they're using High Level or something like that for marketing, when it goes to closed one in the pipeline, it notifies Clicki. That bonus is automatically released to that person who generated the referral. And then we handle the notification-y engagement stuff, like the email and text message.
Yeah.
Saying, hey, Cheryl, you just earned $50. It's in your account. Cash out now. Boom. And it's a link right to your referral portal. So it's kind of like this closed loop system.
Do you have them get cash or like credit back on that company's system for future usage?
Yeah. So the only way to do it right now on Clicki today is liquid cash. So basically we automate the payouts. The person that's cashing out can pick Venmo, Cash App, ACH, PayPal, Visa gift card, Amazon gift card. And there's a big benefit to doing that for the business. And that is they don't have to think about it. They completely wash their hands of it. So the money sits in the business's bank account until the person actually taps the cash out button. Mm-hmm. As soon as this is another big kind of innovation that we have, as soon as they tap the cash out button, we're generating an invoice and charging the business's credit card and making those funds immediately available to their customer. So we actually solved, like, this is a finance guy, we solved the float issue as well. So we're essentially floating our customer, floating the brand. But then we also handle all 1099 liability. So that if anybody earns more than $600 in a year, we issue them a W-9 via the app.
Oh, nice.
And the entity on file is Clicki Inc., not Jimmy's Lawn Service LLC.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the process and the value add that we provide. And, I think what's really interesting is we've been seeing companies use Clicki in a lot of interesting ways. So customer referrals is one aspect of it, but you can also start employee campaigns.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you want to pay your employees for every lead they generate for your company. $10 a lead. Boom. Imagine them getting like pinged throughout the day. $10, $10, $10. They can cash it out right now. It's kind of that positive reinforcement, driving the behavior that we want. We see other people on Clicki, you can manually send money to people. So like that example you gave of one of your landscapers that was like, oh yeah, I referred you John Smith. And then Dan's like, okay, you go and add 50 bucks. Yeah, you go and add $50 to his account to say thank you. He's getting an email and text saying he just earned money. And the only place he can go to cash out is in your referral portal. Where now he's like, damn, I got paid really easy. Here's my referral link. I can submit more referrals. So it's kind of like this closed loop system. And these are just all of the advancements. When we launched, we didn't anticipate people using it like this. But our customers, we built that manual rewards or a manual bonus for Elite Lawn Care, actually, in Oklahoma. They were still going out and buying physical Visa gift cards for all their non-digital referrals.
Yeah.
And now they can just add it to their account in Clicki. So,
boom.
It's and it drives adoption of the broader program as well. So
one area of referrals that, I mean, like, I guess I don't call them referrals, but they're just totally referrals. When you have a business that serves other businesses, in our cases, right, our clients are the same type of people. We have all sorts of home service clients. Angela does as well. And Angela sent me her Clicki link, and I have a few affiliate agreements like that where I pay them. I don't do a straight dollar amount. I pay them like a percentage of revenue every month. I do like a retainer that as long as that client's with me, because I'm a recurring service business, so mine's like a little bit different. So I do it as like a percent of revenue every month. Any client they send my way, they get X percent of that total revenue into perpetuity. And it's just like built into my acquisition cost, but it's like an ongoing referral fee for forever. And so I view it like as an affiliate, right? We're sharing clients and helping each other. It's just referral, right? It's like my clients will refer me as well, but also, somebody like Angela will, or Debbie Sardone will, or Keith Kalfas will. And I think those are cool arrangements too, where you can like partner with people that you trust. Does it on Clicki, is it that you set a dollar amount, or can it do percentages and stuff like that?
So we do what you do. Like for Clicki, everybody, do you have a referral program for Clicki? Is like, yeah, we pay a 10% monthly rev share. So
that would be hilarious if you're like, oh no, we don't.
No, we
like,
don't.
Wait, what?
Right?
Wait, what?
What's funny is like our number one source of customers is referrals for our referral business. And it's a love-hate thing, because it's like, the only way to scale it is to continue making Clicki better and like using it in all, like making it the best product ever, which is really great for our clients, because we're just going to keep making it better for ourselves and then deploying the changes for our clients. But to your point, yeah, we hook up to Stripe. So, or any other, I guess we could hook up to QuickBooks too, but we just need a trigger source. And then you could manually give, not manually, but via webhook, you can actually give out a percentage of
nice
the revenue generated. I would say most of our home service businesses do a fixed dollar amount. It's a little bit hard for homeowners, for example. It's a little bit easier for them to wrap their head around like $200 for every referral or whatever. But for businesses like ours, who these partnerships with other brands or affiliates, it's just different language. It's all the same thing. And to your point, the recurring rev share makes a lot more sense. So essentially that's what you have, right? A rev share. And, we can accommodate that. So then every month, the money would get deposited in their account automatically. And you should essentially be able to wash your hands of, I don't know how you track it now or do your distributions, but
spreadsheets, man. I got a spreadsheet.
Oh yeah, you're the spreadsheet guy.
I'm a nerdy accountant, so I got a spreadsheet, but I do like commission style pay structures for our account managers and our bookkeepers. So I download all of our invoice data for the month, and then I track, who the source was, and that source stays with the client forever, right? It just goes
and I think the goal would be is like what would be really cool is to have your affiliates actually have like a link. And if they're in these Facebook group communities and somebody's like, hey, who do you guys use for accounting? And then they, instead of just tagging you or your website, now they can actually give that person a special offer of some sort, like
link.
drop their link.
Use my
And
link, boy. Here it is.
what's cool about the Facebook groups that we're just seeing though, like we've only been in market a year, but like what we're seeing is as we know, these links live on forever inside these groups. So when people go and search different topics, boom, there's your ad in perpetuity. That's unless you
it's
get
funny you
banned.
say that. Like in the last month, I've gotten a couple people that have booked demos with me, and when I like on my intake sheet is hey, where'd you hear about me?
Yeah.
And they're referencing a group, and I know the conversation, and it was probably 6 months ago that the question got posed, and they're like, who do you guys use for bookkeeping? You gotta use Dan and Best Dan Bookkeeping. And it's like, it's just out there, and 2 more demos. Just, I mean, like we got a couple from it right away, but this far down the road, people are like, oh, saw that combo in Tommy Mello's group. It was, and it was like, sweet. I think it's just hanging out there. And I always say, like, our clients, and maybe this is because I just suck at doing sales. I'm great at doing demos, but I never sell anybody anything. Like, I'll set good expectations, and maybe that's what sales is, but like, I'll set expectations all day. I don't try to sell you shit. Like, I don't want to sell you anything. I want you to choose me. I don't want to try to convince you. If you want to know if our stuff is good, I'm the least credible source. Because of course I fucking think it's good. Like, don't buy from me. Ask my clients. That's who should sell you. And our clients are always our best salespeople. But it's nice to reward them. I don't even know if I need to incentivize them. I feel like Clicki is more of a reward. Like, they already want to talk about us. And I just don't have a great way to say thanks. You know, like I don't know that I need to incentivize them, but I do want to like reward them because I appreciate
we do that all the time. So like we just got back from Pest World. And we have 41 opportunities that came out of that show. And at the booth, basically I was enrolling them as promoters. We call them promoter. Basically a promoter is anybody that has a referral link for your business.
Yeah.
Or is enrolled in the program. So I was like enrolling people at the table and then like dropping $10 in their account, like calling it a Pest World bonus. And then they're getting that email and text. And a couple of things. One is they can see how easy it is to cash out. And they can feel and touch the product of how like their customers.
Yeah, that's smart. With it. That's cool.
But we've also used it in other ways too, where people had sent us really big referrals, and the demos that they were sending us were just insane, like company changing demos. And I just shot them $50. Like, so from Pest World, if you were to break down our cost per lead, we're at like $200 cost per lead right now. We're still calculating our cost per sale, right? Because we're still doing demos and things like that. But
it's got such a long tail, though. It's really hard to figure out, like in the short term.
But even Facebook ads or LinkedIn, we're going to be at $50 to $100 per lead for a lead. So it's like, I would love to just send people 50s or even hundies, like if they're sending us good lead flow, because some of those are the like the on par for like what you would pay for Google and Facebook. And if it can be, really great people that convert at a high rate, then, that's the bottleneck in our business. Like how many demos can we set? So it's a number that we really started tracking recently.
Yeah.
It's like, as you grow up, you have to like start tracking these things. And so we're tracking, demos booked, and then show like people that show up for demos, and then ultimately like close rate and all these things.
It sounds like you're reading me my spreadsheet right now. Cause I have a spreadsheet for that.
I really hate it, honestly. I'm like a product. I just want to work on the product and make the product beautiful and like great and make our customers really happy. But then there's this other side of it where you have to like build a company too. And
damn finance metrics.
Yeah. It's like, how do we go from 20 to 40, right? That's a really hard problem actually. And it's not just going to happen organically. Like you have to force it into the world to happen. And that's actually like quite a big jump for a B2B SaaS company to go from 20 logos to 40 new logos in a month. You talk about like compound growth and like inside of a tech company. It's a really tough problem.
I'm curious if you're seeing this already though. One thing I have found, because Best Damn Bookkeeping is my second bookkeeping business, and there's a point, this doesn't happen forever, but there's a point where the faster you grow, like you hit an exponential curve, because your clients are your best salespeople, there's a point where the more clients you have, the more leads you get, because you have that much more people excited talking about your thing. And like I said, people like want to share your stuff. Like they're excited. When we find something we really like, we want other people to know about and use it. And then eventually you hit like a point of attrition, especially on a recurring thing. You hit a weird attrition rate where like you starts eroding your growth because people go out of business and times get hard and they cut costs or whatever it is. You lose
they get
clients.
acquired,
Yep. The more clients you have at some point, even if you have a 1% attrition rate per month, at some point that will cause you to go backwards. If you have 100,000 clients, like 1% is a lot of new clients you got to sell just to make up for the losses, right? There's a weird like attrition point that you hit. But there is a point in there, which if usually to me, it happens around that like 100 to 150 clients where all of a sudden more and more and more people are like, you got to use this person, you got to use that person. And there's some seasonality to it too. Obviously, like right now is probably a hard time to sell people a referral thing because a lot of people are like scaling back for the winter. But you hit the springtime when people are like, we got to grow. And it's like, holy shit. Like, I didn't know we could grow this fast. Everybody buckle up.
Yeah. I mean, historically, just from my time in LawnBot, this is when home service businesses kind of flesh out their software and their go-to-market plan for 2025. So we have a lot. We're hearing that on demos. Like, hey, we're going to wait till January to pull the trigger a little bit. Yep. But then all the high growth business, we have about 40%, maybe more now, prepay for Clicki for a year.
Oh, nice.
We give a slight discount for that. Obviously, it's really helpful for us because we're a bootstrap startup. So literally that money goes to help us fuel growth and continue building the team and developing the product.
Yeah.
So it's a win-win for both parties, but we're seeing a lot of people are pulling the trigger now though too. So it's a healthy mix, and we're really finding our ICP. Like our ICP is like a home service business that's doing like $1 million to $100 million in revenue. We have some of the biggest brands in pest control are going to be using Clicki in 2025 that we just signed, and they're $100 million business, 100,000 customers, like big brands. But we have companies that do $1 million in revenue too. I don't think and we have businesses that do 500K. And I think what's really interesting is you would think the number of customers would be determinant of the number of referrals generated, but that's not the case. It is helpful to have more people at the top of the funnel. It's actually how embedded into your workflows and processes this system is. Like, is it on your website? Like that widget we were talking about, are you talking about it in your newsletters? Does your team even know about it? We've had companies launch, and if you were to call their office and you said, hey, do you guys have a referral program? The girl on the phone doesn't know about the effing Clicki program. Yeah. That's a problem, right? Like, so we have like a best practice. We've started this Google Doc, and it's like the holy grail. So basically every time when we're working with a company and they're like really crushing it out of the gate, and they're maybe doing something a little bit different that the rest of the cohort's not doing, we throw it down on the Google sheet and make this available to our customers. And this is independent of Clicki. If you go out and develop your own referral program and use bolt.new to make it, you would still need to do these things to have success. So funny enough, like we're becoming the thought leaders in referral programs because we've launched a bunch so far now. We've saw which ones have worked, which ones have not, and which ones have been flat. So it's just really fascinating to me.
It's interesting. As I say, it's interesting getting that intel of watching what works for your clients, and it just makes you that much more valuable to all of your clients. Like you see what works, you see what doesn't work, you see how fast to go, when to do it this way and when to do it that way. And it's so interesting to be able to watch it.
Yeah. I think what we're learning too is like, when we launched Clicki, we thought it'd be a self-serve product. So you'd sign up for your bookkeeping business late at night, and you'd get into the app and start building it out yourself and like designing the landing pages and connecting your own CRM. And like, that's not reality. Like, this is like my dream world of tech land. Like, I want to build like a real, in my mind, I call it like a real tech company where it's like I didn't do a demo with Airbnb to start using it, or I didn't do a demo with Gusto, right, to start using it. It's just a great product, and I signed up online and started using it. I thought it was going to be like that for Clicki, but that's just not the case. That's not how people in this industry buy software, no matter if you're 500K, a million, 100 million. People want to book a demo, get a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Like,
they want to interact. They still want to interact. This is the chance to interact and get the human element.
When we stopped fighting that, we switched to white glove service only. So when you sign up, we do all the setup for you. We connect it to your CRM. We build your landing pages. We will launch it for you too. You send us the list and we'll launch it. Like literally being an outsourced marketing team, a CMO team of like launching this referral program in your business.
Yeah.
And people are willing to pay for it. They just want it on a golden platter, done for you. And so we're trying to develop new features around that thought pattern of when you launch on Clicki, it's set it and forget it. And we're just we're in your shit doing stuff to generate you more leads and opportunities and referrals for your company. And some of it's kind of fun. Like, you know, we had this idea for an AI agent, right? So typically it's email and SMS with Clicki. It's how we do our outreach to the customers. But some of these AI phone agents are getting super interesting. And if you've uploaded 9,000 of your customers to Clicki, why wouldn't you have Madison, our AI agent, call your 9,000 customers as a part of a sequence or a campaign to spur up involvement and awareness of your referral program? Absolutely. Like when we have companies that go live on Clicki and they have their team members call their customers and say, hey, did you know about our new referral program? Like the results for those companies are like way better, obviously, because you're creating that human connection.
Yep.
And one could say, well, it's an AI calling and you're not creating a human connection. But some of these AI
connection, you're bringing, it's an awareness thing. Like we all get bombarded so much all day long with just information.
Yeah.
We don't remember all the stuff that came across our face.
Yeah.
So it's just the touch point.
Especially text messages now. And emails.
Emails are the new junk mail.
Yeah.
Text messages are the new email. I'm curious to see when text messages are like junk mail.
Yeah, so there's some things we're playing with around, you know, push notifications. You think of V cards and contact cards. We think there's something really interesting there. I'm not going to go into all my ideas,
Kendall,
but
I've got this one solved already. You're the technology guy, so you can figure out how to make this happen. But there will be a point in time where like we don't read our text messages anymore, right? Like it's too, you know, we used to read our emails. Now nobody reads their emails. It's just a bunch of shit landing in there. We still read our text messages. There will be a point in time when we don't read our text messages. It's going to be ESP. That's all. That's how we're going to know that somebody knows us. We're just going to be able to read each other's minds. We're going to send ESP messages
with Neuralink.
You need to figure that out. I'm just saying this is how it's going to go. I don't know how it's going to work. I think you can figure that out, though.
Right. No, I think Elon's doing good work on that with Neuralink. That isn't probably out of the question, honestly. I don't know if you'd want your phone in your head constantly, but
no, you're just going to think, I need to. Text won't be the word. I need to. Whatever the word is, Kendall.
Yeah.
I'm just going to think about it for a second. Tell him. Tell him we got a show to do tonight, and you won't have to text him. You just think it.
Yeah, I wish that was possible. That'd be phenomenal.
What would be hard is there's like thoughts that you have that you don't want to send, but if you think it is whatever the thing that sends it going to know that it's a thing you didn't want to send, and are you going to be able to mentally tell it not to send it before you're like, shit, I had this thought, I didn't mean to send that thought. That's where you're going to get in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah. I had that happen with the new Apple Intelligence because I got the new developer beta for Apple Intelligence, and I was like, "Hey, text Masha, I love you," and it like started. And the new Apple Intelligence has this thing where it will auto send messages if you enable it. And of course, I enabled it out of the gate. I was like, "Fuck yeah!"
Let's see what this does. Let's go,
dude. It like pulled up the some woman that like I gave an estimate to for lawn care like 10 years ago, and it was getting ready to send like I love you to this random woman in my
Yeah, let's
phone.
go, baby.
It was like counting down 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. I'm like, stop it. Imagine if I wouldn't have caught that. Like they've got some work to do on Apple Intelligence. It's kind of shitty actually. So I'm not really impressed, and it hasn't really created a lot of value. Even the AI summaries of your notifications are really bizarre.
Yeah,
You can
yeah.
get really weird if somebody's like texting you some really whatever stuff. Like how you can take it
Texting
whatever
you
way you
stuff
want.
that like Ben would text me.
Yeah. And it'd
I
be like, Ben wants to hook up with you. Like,
He probably that would actually like that's something Ben would probably text me just to mess around. Ben and I were together one time. He was scrolling through messages from an ex-girlfriend, and we were telling ex-girlfriend stories, just like having a good old time, laughing, probably drinking a couple too many beers. And he was scrolling through, and he accidentally hearted one of them, and he's just like, "Oh no!" Like I just hearted an old message, so this girl knows that we were like scrolling through her stuff. I was laughing so hard. I was like, "You just can't make that up." Like that's classic, but that's just like you about to text an old client that you love them. So
yeah,
it's all
like
par for the
really,
course.
really bizarre. And what's the response? If it would have sent, be like, hey, sorry, that was like Apple Intelligence. My bad.
That was AI. I was trying to tell my wife your name is similar to my wife's, and so
It wasn't even close. That's the thing. It was like my wife's name is Masha, and it was like sent it to Chris. I'm like, what the hell is
like
going on here?
and Chris, I love you too, but
Yeah.
just not like
Do you
that.
have a business? Do you want more referrals?
You need
We
more
can help.
referrals, but I love you. I mean, you got any referrals that you need to get or send? Because I can help.
I don't know. Somebody sent me a message just before we hopped online. Like,
Did they tell you that they loved you, or no?
no, they said, come and have coffee with me tomorrow.
A number
I
not
said,
in your phone?
no, it's an iMessage too.
Hmm.
I said, who is this? No response. So I will say though, it got my attention. I was like, damn, I got to try that on an SMS blast. And come have coffee with me on a demo.
Yeah, we're having coffee. I'll do a beer.
It got my attention to respond, and
yeah.
So it worked. I don't know who it is, but
I get every once in a while, I get like the weirdo that you can tell is just trying to get you to send money somewhere.
yeah.
I don't know how they text those whatever lists out, but I do really like to mess with them. Like it's just free entertainment. It's a total distraction and it's a total waste of time, but I just can't help. Especially if they ever like sometimes I'll get comments in the Facebook feed of these videos of people that are like, I really enjoy your show and I really think we should be friends. You know, would you, it's like just some overseas gal with way too big of boobs type of picture thing. And you're just like, that's really interesting. Like I'm not in the market for, I just can't help myself, but entertain everybody else with my bullshit comments back to him.
Yeah.
Rob Anderson checking in says, what's up guys? Actually says, hey fellas. I just paraphrased, said, what's up guys? I don't even think that would be paraphrasing. I think I have more letters in mine. I think I actually lengthened his. So I definitely walked into the weird part of this podcast. The whole podcast is weird. Whenever you walk in,
he's like an hour in, walking into the. Yeah, it's get a little. It's. I mean, we just hit 10:16 p.m. So
yeah, it's getting loopy. Are there like sweet spot industries that you find work the best for Clicki, or because like Angela's a VA business, she's using it. I'm a bookkeeper. I don't see any reason why we can, like, seems like anybody in any industry could really be using it.
That's the hardest thing about this is really when we launched, it was small businesses. Well, that's a huge funnel. And if you're talking to everyone, you're not talking to that one person, right? So I've been tasked with ratcheting it down. Essentially, it's like service businesses seem to be kind of our sweet spot. So there's tons of referral and affiliate softwares out there. Referral Rock, Referral Factory, Viral Loops, all of these things. And they're all built for like Shopify stores. So if that's what you have, if you have an e-commerce business, go and use that. Nobody's building for this kind of weird gap in the market where you generate leads. These leads go into a pipeline, and then at some point in the future, they could close or not close. I've just
Mhm.
defined basically lawn care, pest control, home cleaning, Christmas lights, bookkeeping, Clicki,
Yeah.
Angela's business, Martha Woodward at Quality Driven.
Yep.
They use Clicki for their software company. So if you go to our website, you're going to see a lot of home service businesses, but we have a staffing agency. So they're actually using Clicki to promote different open staffing
Oh,
spots.
interesting. Yeah.
And they're creating a new campaign for each role, and then they're creating a different bounty for each of the roles for the people promoting those jobs.
Nice. And then it's like that's quite the network that they have access to.
Right. So
Interesting.
that's really interesting. But I think the the obviously home services is where when we're marketing and talking to them, we really fit well, and then
Bread and butter.
we really understand the CRMs they use. Like
Yeah.
like, you know, I know this brought to you by Service Monster. I'm not fully aware of their API or maybe if they have a Zapier connection, but on our side, we have a full open API and webhooks in and out of Clicki. So
Mm.
you can really connect Clicki to anything you want to connect Clicki to. We have people that connect it to multiple apps. So if like an easy example of this is maybe you're using Service Monster for like your invoicing, but you're using High Level or HubSpot for all of your marketing activities. Well,
Yep.
you can connect Clicki to both apps because maybe you'd want your awarding of bonuses to be automated by job completion and Service Monster, but you actually run your pipelines and stuff through HubSpot and High Level or Salesforce or
Yeah.
those other tools. So webhooks makes all that really, really easy and simple. And
Simple to you, as long as it works for the rest of us. We
well,
just
that's why I
trust.
said the white glove. Yeah. So if you've used Zapier, if you've dealt with webhooks, you understand it. If you don't know what a webhook is, then you're probably speaking Spanish, and that's why we offer white glove.
I'm picturing an internet version of one of those hooks that they would pull a dude off stage in like a comedy type of thing, like a big hook.
Yeah.
And it's a digital version of that. That's what I'm
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah. But it's important. A lot of CRMs maybe don't have. We run into it a lot actually, and I think
Yeah.
AI is going to solve it. But where it's like a vertical SaaS, and if they do have an API, it's kind of shitty. And I've even run into this in a few ones that I didn't think I'd run into it with, and they don't even have they have no sort of trigger based webhooks in their system or even a trigger based API. They have some action steps, but it's pretty limited, or maybe just like getting leads into their CRM. And like, that's not good enough today. Like
Mhm.
if you're using a CRM, it just won't exist. Like those people will go away over time if they don't innovate and continue developing, because like companies want to use the tools that they want to use. And if their data is locked up, then that's a huge problem. Because like I just said in the beginning of this podcast, I think there's going to be a day where each one of us will have our own CRM that we could run in our home service business. It'll be highly customized to our business.
Yeah, it'll be off of some sort of platform, and then we build
There,
it.
there'll be
Yep.
a base. There'll be a base, and then you can highly customize it using natural language
Mhm.
to your specific business. I'm saying everything: the invoicing, the truck tracking, the invoice provisioning, the customer portal. Like this stuff used to be so difficult. And if you gave me a few Red Bulls in a few weekends, I think I could create a CRM front to back using AI to do it. Now it's not going to obviously if a
How
CRM
many
is
Red Bulls do you think? How many should I send you? Just for fun. Like,
maybe
well, it
like a
wouldn't be fun for
truckload.
you. It'd be fun for the rest of us.
Yeah, maybe like a truckload. The problem is, here's the problem right now is if you're prompting an AI in natural language, you need to know what to tell it. You can't just be like, "Hey, I want this system that has invoicing and truck tracking and all this stuff." It's too deep, right? Because there's all
Yeah.
these other things like
Too vague.
databases and
Yep.
object storage and all this stuff that you need to be somewhat technical to like understand. You're not just going to like
I was gonna say AI is only as good as the prompter right
right,
now, right? To get
like
it started.
build me a CRM. Like no, that's not going to work yet. I think one
I want a badass CRM actually. Build me a badass CRM, not just a CRM.
yeah. So I think 2 years from now, it's going to be a very interesting environment. Um, uh, Chrome extensions are really interesting. When you pair it with AI, think of a Chrome extension that's constantly scraping data from your CRM as you're using your web-based CRM. I think that's very interesting. And you can do things with that data. I just think there's this world that we grew up in this last 10 years where you sign up for a platform, you upload your customers to it, and then the functionality of what you want to do inside of your business is limited to the innovation of the team that's developing that software. And their incentives are defined by whoever sets them. If it's a private equity firm, their incentives might be way different than if it's like a founder-led company like Tesla, right? Where like, hey, we want to do this thing. We're going to go build this like huge GPU core facility down in Nashville in 4 days. And like Jensen with NVIDIA is like, oh my God, they built it the fastest I've ever seen it. They had the idea and they just went and did it. There's no corporate bullshit. They just do it. So I don't know. I'm pretty bullish on AI and tech and software. And I think it's a really,
even if you don't like it. I'm not a huge fan of it. It's unstoppable. It's happening.
Dude, I mean, 2 years from now, you could just prompt an AI, build me a referral system like Clicki, and it will go to my website, do a crawl, find out everything Clicki does, and then start doing its best. And the AI agents will just continue working and continue working. You say, no, do this a little bit differently, plain language, and you're just building this thing. That's what I get saddened about, because now it's like, where does this all end? If
I know.
like, how can you actually create sustainable value in the marketplace, enterprise value? Like right now, a big one. And I talk about this with Joel at Deep Lawn a lot. You know, he's one of my buddies, and we competed at ServiceBot. So it was ServiceBot versus Deep Lawn versus Attentive versus you name an AI measuring tool. Like, AI wasn't around when we had ServiceBot. We wanted to go build it, but we weren't allowed to once we sold. So you're like, where does this all end? And we were chatting at the most recent trade show. We're like, hey, I think like we agreed, like it's going to be a commodity one day. Like at some point, there's going to be enough compute power. AI is going to be so prevalent that you'll be able to be like, hey, GPT, how big is my lawn size at this address? And it will tell you.
Yep.
So right now it's kind of, and you're like, okay, well, if everybody has this massive intelligence at their fingertips, how can you really create value for businesses? And so far, the answer has been integrations and workflows. That's the moat that these businesses really have, is these integrations and workflows into the vertical SaaS solution, which is Service Monster, Jobber, or Made Central, or Service Autopilot, or you name it. That's the thing. But like when you can create your own Service Autopilot in plain language, and that sounds like really out there, but I don't think it is. I think somebody's going to build it. And because of that problem I just described, when you sign up for a CRM, and this is every CRM, not just like, you can't, even if they give you an API, like most people don't know what to do with API keys.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything. It's just like, that's beyond my scope.
So it's really cool. I've been playing around with it a little bit with one CRM. They have an API and they actually have like a reporting endpoints. And I did it's called Fire Crawl. I did a fire crawl of all their APIs, put it in a JSON object, and I went into bolt.new and I said, build me dashboards for KPI reportings using the CRM API. And it went and read the API documentation, built the dashboards like Tableau or whatever. And then it said, okay, sir, what's your API key? Plugged it in, and then it populates dashboards.
Oh, sweet.
That would have been like, and you would know this better than anybody, that's tens of thousands of dollars of development to have a human do that.
Oh yeah.
And that's today. It's working. So imagine 2 years from now, like, I don't know what we're headed for. It's I've seen the light and I can't unsee it now, because it's going to happen. It's going to happen fast. And I don't know what that means, but I'm going to try to capture some enterprise value in the meantime. And
I was gonna say, it's like scary and interesting, and it's like, what an interesting time to be alive.
I just can't believe these tools. Like literally after we get off this call, I'm going to go play around on Bolt, and Replit is the other one, AI agent. And it just keeps getting better. They just shipped a bunch of new features today. It just keeps getting better and better. The models will continue getting better. Our compute is going to get.
I was just saying, it's got to be like battery technology. Like when batteries first came out, we're like, oh my god, this thing can run. You don't even need it plugged in, right? And you like laugh at the batteries from 10 years ago and how long shit can go now. And we're probably still not even close to how long batteries can go. There's so much shit we don't know about batteries, and we're I think AI has been around a little bit longer than most of us have been using it, but 5-10 years, maybe. I don't know. We're so at the infancy of what it's capable of, and that's super interesting and super fucking scary at the same time.
So what's really interesting is seeing like basically everybody uses GPT and like Canva AI today, and that's like mass adopted. But there's these undercurrents that are happening. Like I'm on X a lot. That's where I find all my breaking technology breakthroughs, how I find things first. And like where the puck is going. And it's like, it is so much bigger and more important than I think any of us really understand or know. And like we're testing an AI agent right now in my wife's business, and for overflow and after hours calls. Madison, she answers the phone. Sounds really good. People are like, they get to the end of the call, like, are you an AI? And they like don't really know. And it's not like the shitty ones that you've heard with like Air AI and stuff like that. It's like 10 times better because of the company that we use. It's basically Stripe for AI agents. So for developers like me, I can go connect it to a knowledge base. It's using 11 Labs voices. So you got to I'm like a nerd with this shit, but I'm like in the trenches. Okay. And it sounds great. It's a local phone number that it's calling. When the call ends, it syncs with our high level, sends me the transcript, gives me the sentiment. And there's phone answering call centers out there. I remember there were days at Moshalash, actually, we used Ruby at one point, $600 a month for like the same thing for an answering service. And we haven't had one client complain. Like, and they do thousands of bookings a month. So like good enough. And that's today. Imagine and they can do live transfers. So if it is something really important, they can live transfer you to an agent, to a human.
Let me get my manager on the phone.
Yeah. They sound pissed. Like okay, I'm going to transfer you right now. Boom, put it through. But if it's like they're doing gatekeeping and they can actually book appointments on the calendar. So they can look up on Google Calendar, see what availability is there, and then offer appointment times. And that's today. So imagine 2 years from now. I think all of our home service businesses will be using AI agents in some way. The question I haven't solved yet is who is going to build those AI agents. I haven't solved that yet. Part of me is like,
they'll be like specific to industries.
Well, that's the thing. So at some point, OpenPhone is going to release their AI agents, and they're going to rip, because think of all the training data they have, all of the different all the call recordings are going to go into their training data set, and you'll be able to rent an AI agent from them for another $50 a month or whatever. They have AI pick up your phone calls. That's like an easy win. But I'm like, why aren't the CRMs doing this? Because again, people are still the workflows and integrations. They're going to want it integrated into that vertical SaaS solution.
Yeah. It's got to be able to book it in Service Monster.
Right. Exactly.
I need it in Service Monster.
So if you, from first principles, you're like, well, what if I'm not able to book it in Service Monster? What do I do? Well, maybe you have an AI agent who is like, can do everything in Service Monster a human can do. Maybe it's a Chrome extension that literally watches what they do every day in Service Monster and is constantly recording the workflows. And so essentially it's not an actual API, which is even better. It's like a human that just does things on demand inside of your CRM. Maybe that is the answer. I think about it a lot. I'm like, it's hard for me not to go build that stuff because it's just cool and fun.
It's an itch that deserves to be scratched.
Right. But it's like, okay, I'm going to slow down. I think referrals are still really important. I think at the end of the day, not that's me harder to disrupt, but I think it's just from a focus perspective. There's so many people trying to solve that problem right now, AI phone agents. I don't really know if we could provide any value right this second, but
And you'd be playing catch up instead of being in front. And there's something nice about being the one at the front end of it versus trying to play catch up.
yeah, I think there's really workflows and integrations are really important though. You look at these AI phone agent companies that are popping up, and at the end of the day, they're not the vertical SaaS solution.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones that build the billion-dollar businesses, like these vertical SaaS, mostly because of payment processing. I'm trying to figure out how to decouple that as well. How do you decouple the payment processing from your CRM? Because again, they have so much pricing power. You're locked in. They can raise their processing rates. They can release a shittier solution and still charge more for it. And you're going to use the integrated solution. That's the power of these vertical CRMs. And I don't know what the answer is. So we play that game too. You know, they're like, hey, does it integrate with X? And then we're like, well, no, because they don't have an API, or they do have an API, but you have to get approval from them to use it. So they have to approve the vendors that you hook up to, which is bullshit, by the way, too. Like, if you're paying a CRM $10,000 a year and you need to get your vendors approved, that's
It's a shitty gatekeep.
It's just ridiculous. So I don't think that will exist. That's the kind of stuff that pisses me off. I think the market should be free and open. You should be able to do whatever you want with your data, take it wherever you want to go. If you want to leave a software, they shouldn't be suing you on a break fee.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know where the AI phone agents are going to go. I think about that a lot.
Yeah. It'll be funny in, like you said, in 2 years, just looking back and being like, oh, of course. Well, of course this would have been the outcome of this thing. It'll be interesting though, the progression. We got to do this. How the heck does somebody get signed up with Clicki? No matter what business you got, kind of like we said earlier, it's applicable. So if somebody's got a business, they think they probably need referrals. I think they probably do. Like I said earlier, it's probably the best form of marketing you got, the best conversion rate lead you got for sure. How does somebody reach out, do a demo, get signed up, check it out?
Yeah, joinclicki.com. It's join, Join, Clicki.com. If you just Google Clicki referrals, that will bring us up to number one there.
That's Clicki with an I, not Clicki with a Y.
Yeah, okay. Clicki with an I. Clicki. Funny story on the domain, Clicki.com. So there's always a great
Clicki with a Y. Or is it always Clicki with an I?
No, it was always Clicki with an I.
Okay.
And so if you go to Clicki.com, it actually goes to Uber.com right now. And I actually found the guy that owns it, and I called him out of the blue. And this guy is like berserk, off his rocker. And he was like pretending to be the FBI when I called. This is like this weird thing. And I'm like, hey, we own the trademark for Clicki. Like, when we're building this company, are you open to like selling it? He's like, no, TikTok already bought. He's like freaking out on the phone. Like the most bizarre phone call ever. And right now it's just forwarding to Uber for no reason. And the guy that
does he know that?
Yeah, it's intentional. I can't figure out the play there. Again, it could just be he's off his rocker.
It seems like Uber wouldn't find any value in that, because who's going to Clicki.com to find Uber?
Right, nobody.
Uber's an app at best.
I stopped trying to process why he's doing this, but it's not to make money, because I called him trying to pay him for the domain.
Yeah.
So what happened was, this guy is like a mad scientist when it comes to products. He actually I started looking into him when I found him, and he built this, basically it was the first computer that went on a golf cart back in like 1985. And he's like this huge Steve Wozniak fanboy, and just really bizarre things. So he had all these really good ideas. It seemed like he had the Apple Watch idea back in 1992.
Yeah.
All these different ideas and crackpot ideas and domain names that he picked up through the years, and Clicki just happened to be one of them.
Yeah, you're like, oh man, I got this like mad scientist guy that's brilliant.
It is so funny. I'm like, it's just interesting. I kept researching this guy to learn more, and I just can't figure out why this domain is forwarding to fucking Uber. I can't. I can't get past it. So I love to own Clicki.com and would be great, but I don't think it's going to happen. So
It's hard to have a rational conversation with somebody like that. It's
no, it was like literally,
oh,
you
you know
sent
what you
me.
probably need? You probably need AI to do it because they would know how to interact with that. Like, there's probably data out there that says the best way to interact with the like how do you find a middle ground with somebody that's like a mad scientist?
Yeah, I
There's
just,
been a conversation out there before where somebody cracked the code.
yeah.
What's your
Well,
mom's basement like? You know,
yeah.
tell me all about it, man. I'm super interested.
Yeah, and we're building like a real like that would really change our business, if we could get the .com domain, it'd be great. And I just don't think it's going to happen. So for now, it's like joinclicky.com, or we
Oh,
own clickyreferrals.com. We're thinking about maybe switching to that one.
I like that. I like that. Like,
'Cause
it's right to the point. Right to
yeah,
the point.
we used to be just Clicky, but we added referrals to our logo because it's like people look at it and you're like, well, what's Clicky? Oh,
Yep.
referrals. They probably do
Tell them what
referrals.
it is. Tell them what it is.
They probably do something with
I went
referrals.
I went hard on that. I went hard on the best on telling them what it is with the best damn bookkeeping. I just made no doubt about what we're up to here.
Yeah, simple scales, right? So like make it easy on the user.
Mhm.
100%.
Mhm. What so they go to joinclicky.com. What does it cost to get signed up? What how many people you got on it? Where's the path? What are you shooting for? Is it a business like you lawn bot? You said you sold after you kind of like had a multiple slap you in the face. Do you have an exit plan? Do you have a go to where you want to go, or is it like we're just gonna ride this baby until there ain't no ride left?
Yeah, I definitely don't want to exit anytime soon with this one. I think what I've learned in the last transaction is you lose all of your creative ability because once you sell, that's it. Like it's
Mhm.
their company now, and so I don't want to sell this one anytime soon. That being said, if there was like some big offer that came, we would highly consider it. But
Could bought you an island if there's an
yeah,
island involved.
it it's got to be the right scenario and the right partner. Like a dream
Yeah.
acquirer for us, and I'm like speaking this into the universe, is like maybe we'll look back at it one day and be like, wow, that actually happened. But I could see like an Intuit buying us. That'd be a really magical acquirer if they were to buy us, because they already have distribution into all SMB land. They've got the Mailchimp, they've got obviously QuickBooks, and if they could layer in referrals in there, that'd be really interesting. So maybe not them, but maybe a company like them with that type of scale and interest.
Yeah.
And we have a network of small businesses on our side that's continuing to grow. So
Yeah.
I think that'd be really interesting. A Venmo or a Chase Bank might be interesting, but Chase doesn't really do that kind of stuff from what I've been reading. I think maybe like a really large insurance company might be really interesting if we've got a
Huh.
big network of businesses, but they're trying to get a
Yeah.
tech-enabled brand. I think that'd be interesting.
I would imagine your technology would actually be able to help them a ton too.
Right.
Like insurance and people like doing quotes and stuff. I met with my insurance guy today. And I love him to death, but I'm also like, I don't know that like all of that knowledge is just math.
Yeah.
So
I
I feel
think,
like that's a AI replaced industry probably before too long.
yeah, I think the highly regulated industries have been a little bit gun shy to try Clicky out because like with insurance, there's kind of like anti-kickback laws and stuff like that. But
Oh yeah.
um, I think that we actually circumvent those rules because the way our terms of service are written, like Best Damn Bookkeeping would be a brand partner for Clicky, and the people you upload are actually promoters for Clicky Inc. For brand partners. So the
Hmm.
way we've written the terms of service, we've really positioned ourselves as like a third party agent.
Yeah.
Um, and like I said, the money's coming from our bank account, not yours. So you're paying for advertising services for promotional activities from promoters on the Clicky
Yeah.
network.
Just paying for a service.
It's how we view
Decent
it.
offender.
It's
Yeah.
our opinion so far, and I haven't had an opinion that has differed. But also, it's like if you're an insurance agent, you're not going to risk your whole 20-year book of business on like this new
Yeah.
thing. So I see that side too. So we're just going to continue getting traction in non highly regulated industries, and then
Yeah.
we'll focus on the other ones.
Well,
But
and that's a immediate realization I had too with Clicki versus LawnBot. Like LawnBot, yeah, there's other things you could go out and measure, but at some point it's constrained by who can use it. Clicky's just not really constrained. Like there's a lowest hanging fruit constraint of like, what do we want to focus on right now? But there's a shitload of fruit on that tree.
Yeah, I think, I think about the service bot idea, and even my friends who still own businesses in that space, this online estimation. And I'm like, what's the biggest version of that look like? If they crush it for the next 5 years, how big could they get this business? Like, what's the TAM? And I centered on that, around that idea. Unless they were to go into like CRM or marketing or something like that, if you're just going to do the measuring and the quoting and stuff like that, like what's even you could throw a response bit in there too. I know they don't do the measuring as much, but similar motion, right? Online estimation and sales. It's like, what's the biggest that business could be? And my guess was somewhere around 10 million in annual recurring revenue. If like you really crush it, somewhere around 10 million, and like really, like that's a lot of businesses using your software. This, I think the opportunity is bigger because there's a lot of interesting angles for phase 2 on once there's enough brands using a shared system. So we think there's an interesting angle around a really interesting angle if, we have 1,000 brands that use Clicki. We have all these brands, they've defined how much they're willing to pay for customers. Now it's like, who's willing to take the other side of that trade? Maybe there's local influencers in your town who want to take the other side of that trade, that have an audience and want to, and we help facilitate and connect the two. So I don't know what phase 2 exactly looks like, but it's something, the network effect that is here that needs to be unlocked. And
we did some influencer marketing in one of my maid service businesses, and it was by far our best acquisition cost. I actually think we were underpaying the influencers, and there was a middleman. I gotta forget what the name of their company was. But it was super successful. But then the company changed their business model. And I was like, no, like we'll pay both of you more. Like this is our by far best acquisition cost. We need more of this. Like you're just not charging enough. We're paying like a few $100 a month. We would pay $2,000 a month for this, for the amount of lead flow we're getting and how well it converts. But they just didn't have the business model built out right. But man, that influencer space was so valuable when it was working.
I mean, we see people that use Clicki and they crush with influencer. They spin up an influencer campaign and they go find these mommy bloggers, and on that best practices doc that we give companies, we'll actually give you the script of what to reach out to these influencers and say to actually get them to sign up. And I'm Travis Bottoms with Nice Pests Company is going to be on the webinar that we have coming up.
November 12th, you said?
November 12th.
What time? November 12th?
Completely free. It's 6 p.m. Eastern time. So, but he just started a new pest company, and I think he's at like 300 customers in the first month or two off of just influencer marketing and Clicki.
It's going. Yeah.
So he's like a pro at it. And he actually helped another Clicki customer, turf cleaning company, similar results, like hundreds of referrals using Clicki and influencers, and their typical referral program. But I think what's really interesting about the influencer side of it is it's more, I would consider the influencer campaigns more direct response, because you're literally tapping into a new audience of 30,000 people that might need instant lead flow. Like if they have the problem, they're going to convert right then and now. Like
it's like instant lead flow, and then Clicki is the thing that like keeps it growing just within that just general referral, right? Again, like back to the more you have, the more you get with referrals. The more clients you have, the more opportunities there are for referrals. And so if you get that influencer to like give you the initial boost from their audience, now their audience is out there referring, and that's where the exponential base comes from.
100%.
Kendall, it's getting freaking late.
Yeah.
It's super late for you. I got one more question for you. Actually, you have two more questions for you. First question, anything we didn't cover that you're like, man, we got to talk about this before we end this show? Anything we missed? We covered all.
No, I think we hit on a lot of good topics. I think And that's why we're doing the webinar, by the way. Like, I know I keep plugging it, but like,
Where do people go to find the webinar? Is
it's
it
on
just
our
on the
website right at the header.
joinclicki.com?
Yeah, just joinclicki.com. It's a free webinar. And I did this actually at LawnBot too. I call it my Dominate Digital webinar, where I just basically, it will be an hour and a half of we won't even talk about referrals. Like, we're going to talk about influencer marketing, but not necessarily, it's not going to be a hard pitch on Clicki. It's more of ideas and concepts that I find really interesting that aren't being talked about in the mainstream.
Mhm.
So like literally we're on the bleeding edge of, I would say, sales and marketing technology for home service businesses. So we're gonna be talking about concepts and ideas around that. And I think we covered that today pretty well too. Just talking about AI and like I'm a practitioner, you know, it's like every new tool, like I'm actually trying it and using it, and we
Yeah.
build from there. But no, we covered a lot of good stuff. I think we did good.
Beauty. So I got one more question for you. Closing question.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna chalk a bigger field that you don't get to play in than I do for most people. Let's say I'm gonna say like money's not an object, but you got to do something that like brings in enough bacon to contribute to a household, right? You still got to feed some kids, but you can't do anything in the software space. Software is off limits. It's not just Clicki. It's not just ServiceBot. All software development, anything software related, is not a thing you get to do. But you had to go pick something tomorrow. You got to decide, I'm going down this career path. Software doesn't even exist. AI doesn't even exist anymore. It's not even a thing. It's back. We're back in the 1900s. These things don't exist. In that world, what's Kendall Hines going out to do?
Man, I don't know. That's a good question. It's like, I don't know what I'd do without a computer. Like, I feel like this is a connection to my body. You know, I kind of have this new dream of like getting super rich and then buying like 200 acres in Tennessee and having a farm. And I think that's the stereotypical tech response is get
Get
super
as
rich
immediately as far away from it as possible.
and then get off the grid type of
Yeah.
thing.
Still
But
use some tech because you would use some tech to like power all your stuff.
yeah,
Probably you'd have like
We'd have Starlink going and have internet and everything, and I could work from the compound or whatever. But
you'd
that's
have
like
isolated tech.
we were looking up actually in Traverse City, they've got like wineries and stuff for sale, me and my wife, and I was like, look, this one's like $2 million or whatever. Like, it's not, and it comes with like acreage and like crops and stuff. And like, I don't want to run the farm. I just want to like own the asset and then like go drive around a fucking gator
Yeah,
on the
I
land.
want to take my my fully enclosed gator with the heat going when it's cold
Yeah.
out
Like,
and
that would be
go ripping
amazing.
around my property.
That'd be so fun. I don't know. I've always just, especially now, I still feel this way even after the exit and everything. It's like I'm just always in a like a I'm always like anxious I'm not going to make it, if that makes sense. Like, I've got this dream and this ambition and like hustle and stuff, and it's just like, what if it's all for nothing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but then at the end of the day, you're like, the most important things in the world are your family, you know, like really when it comes down to it, like if your family, friends are the most important stuff. So it's kind of deep and philosophical, but like, yeah, at the moment, I like to just continue this life I live where I get to pick my own
Yeah,
what I want to
stay
do
in the sweet spot.
when I want to do it. I don't have to work with certain clients if I don't like them. If they're giving us attitude, then all right, we'll give you a refund. Like, I don't need to work
Yeah,
with you.
moving on.
If I didn't want to be doing Clicki, I wouldn't. And that's a good question. I don't know.
Now you could probably do Clicki from a winery or from a 200-acre farm in Tennessee. You know, just saying.
We totally could. We totally could. I think the other side of it too is like I'm 32, 33,
You
and
got
like
some
I've got my
runway left. You got some runway.
got some runway, right? So like I'm on my push.
Yeah.
And I see people that are like older and they're not pushing anymore and they're kind of lost. So I really respect Elon. Like, I really love the fact that he's like he is the richest guy in the world, and he owns his destiny. Like he just chooses what he wants to do and can be plain spoken and also super smart, and he can work on the problems that he wants to work on. He's not like he says it himself. He doesn't live like a hedonistic lifestyle of like 100, 200 acre farms and all. He just wants to build useful products like for humanity. And I think that's really noble. So I think about that a lot, about like having means of that size, but also not letting it define you in some ways.
Yeah.
And just being able to build, to be on Bolt until 2 a.m. And like, that's the magical part of the journey to me. I don't know. That's, I think about that a lot, but I'm like, damn, I don't know why. I'm just always anxious about this. And you probably feel this too. I think a lot of people do, is like, no matter how hard I work or whatever targets we hit, like you realize you can do more, and you're like, wow, I set this goal, I hit it, and I can keep going.
There's no limit.
That's a good question. That's a great question. I'm gonna steal that from you, by the way. That one goes deep.
It goes like this. There's no right answer, and it's just it gets philosophical. I find it tends to, this is like an entrepreneurial tendency that we have, is if we're gonna go outside of our work, and like my goal in that question is like eliminate the work that you do today, like take you out of a work mindset. We tend to go to a hobby related thing that requires a lot of work. It's just funny. Like I want to have a farm, right?
Yeah.
A farm's a fucking shitload of work.
Yeah.
Like that'll keep you busy all day. But we like, it's a bit of a paradise in our mind of like, I'm just going to like live. I still probably need a ton of human interaction. Like, especially me, I'm an extrovert, but there's something about having my own thing. And I think there's an entrepreneurial thing about having your own thing. And there's a work ethic thing about like, I like to work hard, and we just do. It's just like, if you told me I had to stop working today, I'd just be like, that I really wouldn't know what to do with myself. Like if you told me I had to go find something else to work on, I can go find something else to work on. I love working on stuff. I'd become a freaking mechanic probably. I don't know. I'll find something to work on, but we don't sit still well. And so it's like you create a thing to make sure you're not sitting idle. I do a ton of deer hunting, so mine is always outside, like something outside, working outside away from a computer, which I think is funny because I spend all day now at a computer.
Yeah.
But it's a vision. It's a vision.
It'll happen one day.
Someday
we'll get our farms and be out there on the fucking tractor.
And then we'll be like, man, I wish I was back sitting in the office at the computer right now. I do put a lot of food plots in and throw a little tobacco pouch in, ride around on the tractor. Those are some good days, just putting some seed in the ground. It's like, I don't think I could do it every day. I couldn't golf every day. I golfed a ton growing up. But I had a very like stark realization. Like, I don't want my hobby to become my job. Like I hunt and fish a ton. I don't know that I'd love to be like a hunting and fishing guide. I don't know that I'd want my hobby to be my job. I think it would ruin some of the passion for it. But I do like every once in a while riding around on a tractor, planting some shit in the ground and watching it come up. There's something satisfying about that. For sure.
Yeah, totally.
Well, man, I appreciate you hanging out. Marathon episode. I'm not surprised. This is where we go. This is how we get here. Any final thoughts? Any last comments for the folks?
No, we'll have to see where this goes. I mean, 2 years from now, who knows?
Let's not wait that long to do another podcast. We waited way too long.
I'm gonna go back. I can't watch it. Right, it's gone.
I'll have to talk to Jai, our producer guy, and see. He might have gotten it before we took it down and made a podcast, but I don't remember. I don't remember if he did or not. I don't know if
it'd be really interesting to go back and watch, and then obviously this one too, since there's no vulgarness in it. We could look back at it in a couple years and see what happened, but
we'll see how well we predicted the future. Yeah, man, we'll do it again sooner rather than later. I appreciate you coming on, hanging out, spitting some knowledge at us, and good luck with Clicki and the new venture. And business nerds, join Clicki.com. Go check it out. webinar November 12th. Did you say 5:30 Central Time, 6:30 Eastern?
Yeah, yep, 6 Eastern. So
6 Eastern. I threw a 30 in there. I just rounded up. That's a terrible rounding job for a bookkeeper, but 6 Eastern, 5 Central. You guys know how time zones work. Check it out. That's on joinclicki.com. You guys know what to do. Work harder and smarter. Go earn yourself some pride. Nighty night.
All right, we'll see you.
Peace.